In today's episode, we're going to talk about the basic recovery kit that every car must have. So you have the recovery kit, you have a long static toe strap, you have a short static toe strap, bow shackles and a soft shackle. We're going to talk about uses, how do you buy a good quality shackle, how do you buy a good quality strap, how to use them properly and how to maintain it, which is even more important. First thing first, you need something known as metal shackles. Metal shackles come as a bow shackle and they come as a D shackle. Most of the kits that we see in the market sell you D shackles. Now this is a completely wrong piece of kit. You don't need this. These shackles are used mostly for chains and they are not worth buying for straps. Why? I'll tell you in a bit. But what you need is a bow shackle. A bow has a bow this way. So when you put a strap, the strap doesn't get kinked into the bow. What do you want the strap to sit nicely and snugly? In this case, the strap is going to get pinched and that is going to cause a problem. So do not use these. What we need are bow shackles. Now bow shackle comes in different sizes, different grades. How do you select the right grade or right shackle for your car? Simple rule is whatever is the weight of your car, double the weight and that's the capacity of the shackle that you need. So if this is a 1-ton car, I would need 2 tons. If this is a 2-ton car, I would need 4-ton rated shackles. Now if you look at the shackle, if you look at it closely, it's got some markings on it. One marking says the WLL 4 and 3/4 ton. That means it's a working load limit. A working load limit means that at any given point of time, this shackle can hold 4 and 3/4 tons for its entirety of its life. And this has a safety factor of 5:1 because this comes from the lifting industry. So if this was a 5-ton shackle up to 20 tons, this may deform, but this will not let go. After 20 tons, this can let go. So this is a very safe piece of equipment. The next thing you see is it's got a CE marking. So always buy a shackle which has markings, has ratings and conforms to some good universal standards. And the last thing that is written here is known as 3/4. This means this shackle is a 3/4 inch shackle. So when you go to a shop to buy, you tell him, don't tell him I want a 5-ton shackle. You tell him I want a 3/4 inch shackle. So what is 3/4 inch? Is this pin. This pin here, the diameter is 3/4 inch and this determines the capacity of this shackle. Also when you buy a shackle, when you tighten the shackle, if you see it's got this thing which is known as its ear and the shoulder here. These should tightly match to the ear. If there are gaps, that means this shackle will not tighten enough and you risk loosening the shackle. So always buy a good quality shackle. This shackle will last you 7 generations. So it's a one-time buy, one-time forget. The other thing that I want to tell you, a pro tip is, earlier times we used to always tighten the shackle and then give it a 1/4 or a 1/2 ton loose. Newer studies have shown that when you do this and there are sustained pulls, this pin does get loose. The shackle loses its strength and you can have a catastrophic failure. So once you tighten the shackle, keep it tight. There will be times that it gets locked and for that reason you have a hole in the shackle. You take a screwdriver and you leverage it to open it. But do not unscrew the shackle anymore. The advantage of a shackle is it is indestructible. I've never seen a shackle break. The shackle can be washed easily. You can take a pressure washer, clean it, all fine. The problem is this is heavy. If your recovery point breaks and this shackle comes flying, it's going to kill you. It's going to go through the windshield and it's going to kill you. The other thing is if you drop it in water or mud, it's going to sink and then you're not going to find it. So for that reason, we now get something known as soft shackles. So soft shackles, they come in variety of types, diameters, knots. Basically what is it? It is a ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. That is the rope material that is made, that this is made of. It was made I think initially by Dyneema. Super strong. Now shackle comes in has different parts. So it's got the knot, the body and the noose, the hangman's noose. The way to use this shackle is very simple. You thread the noose through the knot and you tighten it. Now it's very important that your recovery point and your rope are at this angle or at this angle. All the load of the noose comes onto the neck, which is on this part, and there should be no load on the knot. So when there is tightening, this knot does not have any load. So this is wrong because now you see the noose is pulling towards the knot and you have a risk of the noose slipping over the knot. So always this is also acceptable, but ideally is always this or this. Knot should never be here or should never be here. Now again, there are a lot of shackles available in the market. What you want is a good double overhand knot. This knot is rated to be the strongest knot. A simple diamond knot is not as strong. Your knot should not be the point of failure for a shackle. How do we test shackles? We will hold it in the wrong way and we will pull on a machine. As it pulls, this knot starts to constrict, but whatever happens, this should not be pulled off the knot, but the rope should break. And that determines your minimum breaking strength. A lot of companies confuse you with maximum breaking strength. What you want is minimum breaking strength. So when shackles are sold, probably 5 out of every 100 are put on a machine, broken and averaged out. That gives you your minimum breaking strength. So your working load limit ideally should be half of your minimum breaking strength. So if this breaks at 15 tons, your working load should be 7 tons. The problem with soft shackles are they do not like sunlight. If you keep it in sunlight all the time, the UV rays do damage the ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. So avoid storing it in direct sunlight, or when you wash it, you don't want to dry it in direct sunlight. Second thing is, this one is rope, so it doesn't like sharp edges. So if your recovery point doesn't have a bevel, it has a lot of sharp edges, you will cut the rope and you will weaken the integrity of the rope. Also, because it is rope, it will not last you 7 lifetimes. It will probably last you 3 to 4 years depending on how many recoveries you do. So I've got this one from SOS Gear. I've done probably hundreds of recovery. I'm still on one of these shackles. So for me, I change shackles every 2 to 3 years and I see if there is buffing. If there is buffing or burring of the shackles, I'm fine. If there are any cuts in the fibers, that's when I replace these shackles. What is the biggest advantage of this shackle? It's lightweight. If I throw it at you, you're not going to get hurt. So if your recovery point breaks and this starts flying to you, you're not going to kill yourself. The other advantage is that it floats on water. So if you drop it in water or drop it in mud, this shackle is not going to get lost. The other problem here is if you use it a lot in sand or in dust, these particles do get into the strands and they will act like small silica glass particles and they can start damaging the strap from inside. So after every use, there's a big cleaning protocol. I cannot pressure wash it. Never pressure wash a strap or a shackle. You need to dip it in water, agitate it a bit, no hard soaps, and let all the dust come out, the muck dissolve and come out. And you need to keep repeating this till you get clear water. So it's a 15-20 minute job for every shackle, and then once you are done, you need to let it hang to dry, but not in direct sunlight. So expensive, cheap, saves your life, can kill you. Lasts probably 2 years, lasts 7 generations. So you decide what you want to do. What I do, I keep both these things in my kit. Wherever possible, I will use soft shackles, but in cases where I'm working a lot of sand or my recovery points are very sharp, then I will use bow shackles, but I will take more additional precautions to make sure that the recovery point does not break or we have no one standing in the kill zone. Whenever I buy recovery gear, if there is no information sheet on any of the recovery gear, I will not buy it. What I want is a company that has tested it properly. It has the instructions for use. It has the minimum breaking strength. Now, a lot of companies will write MBS. You don't know it's minimum breaking strength or maximum breaking strength. So it has to have the minimum breaking strength mentioned. And what I would really like is certifications. I would want to see a certificate which I can access from the company website by a trusted lab. So NABL or a BAS certified lab which has tested these things, and then I know that these things are rated. So always when you buy recovery gear, be smart. Don't be a fool. I've got a strap, I've got the D shackle and I've got the bow shackle. Why don't I want the D shackle? This is what I'm going to show you. The problem is this doesn't fit in directly. This only fits in sideways. It doesn't fit properly here, nor does it fit properly here. This doesn't work. Remember one thing, shackle when they are rated along its long axis. So the entire 5 ton of this shackle is rated on this axis. It is, if I do a 45-degree pull, I'm going to lose 25% of the strength, and if I do a 90-degree pull, if I pull it this way, the shackle becomes half the rated strength. So 5 ton shackle, if I do this pull, it's going to become 2.5 ton. The problem is these 2 ears can pull out, the pin can get jammed, and then your only option is to go to an angle grinder and cut the entire thing. So whenever you use a shackle, make sure that you're always using it on the long axis. And when you put the strap, you see the strap is now not bending, it's not pinching. So always use the strap on the bow. You do not use the strap on the pin. The reason for this is, if I use it on the pin, you see it doesn't fit. Now as the forces come, the strap is going to get pinched. Straps don't like pinching, kinking or bending. So if you save your strap, if you use a strap properly, it's going to last you a long time. If you abuse a strap, it's going to fail at a wrong time and then you're going to be in trouble. What are we talking now? Straps. Straps are very important. There are different types of straps. You have kinetic energy straps and you have your static straps. What is the difference? Kinetic energy or snatch straps are used for kinetic pulls and static straps are for non-dynamic or non-kinetic pulls. Big difference. If you use the straps in the wrong way, you can damage your vehicle or you can break the strap. So what we're going to talk about today is static straps. When I say static straps, it's basically you do not pull your vehicle with any jhatka or any snatch. You tighten the strap and then you start pulling. But we'll get to that later. What I want to talk about right now is how do I select a strap. Like we selected a shackle or a soft shackle. Straps also come in different materials, different qualities, different ratings. What is the best way to select a strap? Now, I've got a strap again from SOS Gear. Brilliant straps. Again, as I said before, if there is no label, I do not buy these straps. So there is rating, instructions for use and certification. But basically a strap is usually made of polyester, the static straps. It will have some sort of covering to secure the stitching out here. And this is known as the eye. The eye again is folded, stitched, reinforced with a protective material. You see this strap has been used a lot. There is some sort of buffing on it, but there is no frank cut. So as long as there is no cutting on the strap, these are good to go. Straps again selected the same way, at least 2 to 2.5 times the GVW. GVW means gross vehicle weight. Gross vehicle weight means you, your fuel, your luggage, your dog, your cycle, everything in the car gives you your gross vehicle weight, and this should be rated at least 2 to 2.5 times ideally. So this strap is 5 ton working load and 15 tons braking strength. Maximum or minimum braking strength. Remember that. Never maximum braking strength. These straps are simple to use. Shackle either bow or soft shackle. Attach it to your stuck vehicle and then the other side you will attach it to your recovery vehicle. Tighten the strap and pull. Washing it, similar to soft shackles, you will soak it in a bucket of water, agitate it, let all the muck come out, throw that water away, put in new water, keep doing this till your water is completely clear and there is absolutely no brown murky water. Hang it to dry, again avoid direct sunlight if possible, and these straps will last you again a long time. What I have noticed is a lot of people, once they finish recovery, they just dump the strap into the boot of the car, which does land up getting it nicked and cut. Take a little bit of time. Once your recovery is done, just roll the strap up, secure it and then put it back so it doesn't get entangled, it doesn't get knotted, and you can use it again. This strap probably has seen 100, 200 odd recoveries for every class. We do multiple simulations and still it's working really well. Why? Because I preserve it, I take care of my equipment. If you take care of your equipment, it will last you a very long time. What I carry in my car is 2 types of straps, a 3 meter and a 10 meter. A 3 meter is basically for something known as a bridle arrangement. Bridle arrangement is when I take one end of the strap on this recovery point and one end of the strap on this recovery point. We'll do it in the demos and show you exactly how it works. But at times, let's say you are pulling a car and now you want a longer strap. How do we join 2 straps together? Maybe I need 12 meters or 13 meters. How do I join these 2 straps together? Is my question to you. Can I use shackles? Maybe, maybe not. Why not? If I use a bow shackle, now I'm putting a heavy piece of equipment right on the bow. In the middle, if anything breaks, I have a piece of equipment flying towards me. I can use a soft shackle, but again, I'm just adding extra links into a chain, which I don't want to do. Every monsoon, I get a lot of calls from people saying, oh, we've tied our straps together and now they are stuck. What do? Once straps are tied together and they're stuck, you basically forego these 2 straps, throw it away, they're not going to work. You cannot use these straps as a noose. What you need to do is a very simple procedure. So let's say I'm taking this strap and this strap, I want to join it together. The first eye goes above this eye. Then you take the second eye of this strap and you go through this. And now you pull. As you pull, this is what you come up in. If you come closer, this is the situation. Now if I tighten this and there is tons of load on this strap, this is going to get locked and this is never going to come out. What you want to do is, if you want to prevent this from tightening and binding to each other, take a piece of stick, take a rolled up magazine, whatever is there, and just put it in between these two straps as such. And now as the load comes, this stick or this magazine will prevent this from binding together. Once you're done with your recovery, all you need to do is pull the stick or the magazine out. There are times we've seen that this also gets jammed because there's a lot of load on these two straps. All you need to do is put it on the floor, put your feet on these two things and break it. When you break this, both the ends come off and the straps now become loose, and you can easily remove it and disassemble your linkage. Remember one thing, because I've been showing you right now on video and just for ease of handling, I'm not wearing gloves. But when you are on the field, make sure you're gloved up at all times, because when you're working at recovery points, things can be sharp. If you're at the back of the car, the exhaust can be hot, things can be muddy. So gloves are very, very important. So if you like this content, follow us for more stuff, because now we're going to plan the recovery and do an actual recovery to show you how forces are at work and how do you plan a good recovery.